Welcome to the Government News Brief for Thursday, December 17, 2015. In the news, labor sector streamlining is benefiting all stakeholders, unemployment being tackled through comprehensive training and job creation programs, and government pursues transparency in drug procurement process. I am Azim Khan, and this is the Government News Brief. Having taken up office at a time when the Caribbean Development Bank said Guyana's youth unemployment rate was a staggering 40%, the government pledged to take measure to reduce this percentage. Today, the coalition government is pursuing an aggressive, comprehensive program of training and job creation. Details in this report.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan says that emphasis is being placed on reskilling and retraining of the people in the labor market. The minister was at the time speaking at the launch of the United Nations 2015 Human Development Report at the Artichung Convention Center.
In the area of training and skills development, a range of programs which are being offered by the Ministries of Social Protection, Indigenous Peoples, and Education, among others, is focusing on new and sustainable ways to create jobs and reduce poverty. We are redesigning our programs so that persons are not only trained, but are supported and mentored to ensure that initiatives undertaken are sustainable. This approach is based on the premise that a sustainable source of work provides a greater sense of security and dignity for the beneficiary.
A recent Caribbean Development Bank study of 8 countries in the Caribbean found that high youth employment is prevalent in Guyana and Suriname. These 2 countries have registered consistently above 30% unemployment rate since 2000, with Guyana hovering around 40%.
It was my pleasure a few weeks ago to meet with several representatives of our young people as part of our Budget 2016 consultations. I was heartened to hear their determination to seek, seize, and create opportunities in this changing world of work in areas such as ICT and green initiatives. I commend them as examples to other young people and give the assurance that we will expand the available choices to access paid work, particularly within the areas of ICT and the green economy.
An employment-led development strategy resonates with the approach of the government. Indeed, in his 2015 budget speech, Minister Jordan had indicated that government will not wait for trickle-down effects of growth to reach Guyanese, but will be deliberate on policy and program interventions and will remove barriers preventing an employment-driven economy. With this government news brief, I'm Shanti Govardhan.
Government's intervention in streamlining the labor sector in Guyana has resulted in workers benefiting from improved working conditions and better salaries. Those who have been exploited have been compensated. Details in this report.
Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection, Simona Brooms, has responsibility for labor matters. She believes that the inspections that have been done by her department and all the challenges faced have been to the benefit of both employers and employees.
That were underpaying workers, and even if it was by $1, it added up. There were companies who was wrongfully deducting money from workers that they had to repay to the workers. There were companies that were not paying the workers their overtime and other benefits and had to do that. Millions of dollars workers have benefited from because coming out from the inspection, the correction and what we've noticed, workers benefited not only financially but the conditions that they were working under. Definitely we had some major shift.
The ministry has engaged defaulting employers and given them the option of correcting the breaches in the law or face the court. Most of the employers have agreed to correct wrongdoings immediately.
That was our first approach as government, to have them to correct on better conditions and to educate both employee, and we have been doing that and making some excellent achievements in those areas. So that was the approach generally. One, failure to comply, that is when we had to go before the court. But most of them, like I mentioned, they did comply and start their corrections.
The administration had promised that it will ensure that workers have a conducive environment in which to work and are paid livable wages and salaries amongst other benefits. With this government news brief, I am Shanti Goberdan reporting.
The coalition government has been pursuing a pathway of greater transparency to ensure a society free of corruption. The Ministry of Public Health, which provides free drugs to Guyanese, has engaged medical suppliers on the requirements for procurement of pharmaceuticals and medical consumables. Here are the details.
The workshop was centered on the basic requirements and procedures necessary for bidders for the supply of medical drugs to the local health system.
I wish to extend a warm welcome to all potential bidders present here today to this pre-bid meeting, and to inform you that today's activity represents the first step in the process of creating a system that would allow for open, competitive bidding for the supply of medical consumables to the public health sector. I therefore wish to assure you that with the launching of this tender process for procurement of pharmaceuticals and other medical supplies, all bidders will have an equal opportunity to submit the tender, and once they meet the requirements incorporated therein, they can be assured of a favorable response.
This undertaking is in keeping with government's promise to allow greater transparency and to be accountable to the Guyanese people.
It should be remembered that this government, while in opposition, had expressed serious concern about what was seen as a total lack of transparency in the way taxpayers' money was spent in the procurement of drugs and other medical supplies. Today's activity must therefore be seen as the beginning of a new order that will, if properly operationalized and administrated, result not only in a more transparent system of procurement, but ultimately allowing the public health sector to enjoy greater value for money spent on pharmaceuticals and medical supplies.
This process also represents government's fulfillment of yet another one of its campaign promises.
Today's activity also represents the fulfillment of yet another campaign promise made by this government to break the monopoly of the pharmaceutical supply chain that was created by the selective tendering process.
For this government news brief, Shivani Ramprasad reporting.
Indigenous youths are being given opportunities to expand their horizons. The Bena Hill Institute in Region 9 has more than doubled its intake and has expanded its catchment area to allow students of other regions to benefit. Details in this report.
The Bena Hill Institute of Learning Center for Research, Training and Development, located in Anai Region 9, is on its way to being transformed into a higher institute of learning for Indigenous youths, with focus being mainly on tourism and hospitality, forestry, agriculture, marketing, accounting, first aid, management, mechanics, and woodworking. The institute, after a long period of struggling to attract students, has seen a significant increase in its intake. According to the center's principal, Victor Pereira, some time ago it was really difficult for the institution to attract students. However, this is no longer the case, since students from other regions are now benefiting from training at the facility.
This is the first time we've been able to move from 34 students to 67 at this moment.
And this is the first time you got some from Region 1 also.
Oh yes, we have 7 students from Region 1, about 20 from Region 8, and of course the entire Rupununi. We've had requests for more students, but we could not at the time accommodate any more.
$40.5 million was set aside in the 2015 national budget to renovate the dormitory and purchase new beds and mattresses, install fans, expand the kitchen, purchase a solar freezer, photocopying machines, and air conditioning unit, fencing of the compound, and to pay for electricity for the institute. The rehabilitation work has commenced and is ongoing.
It's in the process of upgrading, fixing the roofs, the rooms, adding other facilities, like a generator, place for doing carpentry and mechanics, and we also have the opportunity of having the area for agricultural development expanded, fixing the fences and stuff like that, the basic things for the institution to get more in the business of expansion.
This is only the first of many such interventions of this nature for the Amerindian youths, as government will in the coming years seek to replicate the Bina Hill Institute model in other regions. For this government news brief, Shivani Rampersad reporting.
Christmas 2015 is being observed in a clean, conducive and accommodating environment. For the first time in many years, the capital city of Georgetown has been cleaned and family recreational areas developed, allowing adults and children to indulge in leisure activities. Here is more in this Shanazalo report.
The Restore Guyana initiative, which commenced following the assumption of office of the Government of National Unity, has certainly resulted in a cleaner and better capital city. This has also seen Guyanese everywhere playing their role in this process. Visitors to the city, tourists to the country, and Guyanese have all commended the initiative, especially now that Christmas is drawing near. Gina spoke with persons who last evening were relaxing at the newly developed Merriman's Park, Georgetown. Persons are coming out in the festive season and spending time with their families. Encouraging Guyanese to be a part of the holiday is being promoted by almost everyone as the countdown to Christmas Day continues.
Christmas means a lot. Well, I love to eat, so that's one of the main things. A lot of food, a lot of happiness, joy, and gifts, and so on.
Christmas means a giving time, a sharing time, spending time with family and friends, and it's the most exciting time for kids.
We all come together as a family, we eat, we drink, not alcohol, but socialize and make everything merry and happy.
Lots of mixing and, you share the spirit, the joy. We go out to meet people who are less fortunate.
It's about Jesus Christ. I guess some of us forget that part, but that's what it is. Once you remember Jesus Christ, then you remember Christmas.
Earlier in the year, the APNU and AFC coalition government vowed to restore Guyana to its former beauty. Currently, 20 communities are completed and 32 communities are a work in progress.
That has brought us to the end of the government news brief for Thursday, December 17, 2015. If you missed any of our programs, check out our website. You can also find us on Facebook and on YouTube. Remember to send us your Guyana Nice photo so we can feature it. Here is today's Guyana Nice photo.